Here is an early Kent 4-transistor portable tape recorder from the 1960s that we're going to take a look at today and see if we can get this guy rolling. One of the neat things about this recorder is when I was a kid, one of the kids in the neighborhood got one of these for Christmas, something similar to this for Christmas, and we had a riot making up our own small radio programs and interviewing people, and had a great time with it. So this kind of brings back a whole lot of memories. A Kent 4-transistor tape recorder, 3.5-inch reels, rim drive, and no, it doesn't do hardly anything for music, but for voice it's somewhat usable for voice. And it's a typical rim drive recorder, 4-transistor. Cover is removable, that's rather nice and handy. And your typical rim drive type recorder, nothing fancy. Volume and function switch on the front. And this is unique, this is a little bit higher end rim drive recorder because it does have a volume control, removable cover, and internal speaker. And this guy's in really good shape physically. Doesn't look like it's ever been dropped or broken or anything. And we take a look, of course, first thing to look at is the battery compartment. And the battery compartment in this guy is completely clean. There's no leaks. The battery contacts are so that's encouraging. So we'll take a closer look at this guy and see if we can get it running. First thing I'm going to try is put a set of C batteries in here in the unit and see if we can get any response or any activity. And no. No activity. Not quite sure if tried to clean the battery contacts a little bit and that didn't seem to do anything. So we don't have any motor activity. Now we'll add a 9-volt battery and see if we hear any noise or any activity with the internal amplifier. Yeah, we do get some noise. The control is noisy, but there is some activity on the audio amplifier. So with no motor activity, looks like we're going to have to dive a little bit further into the device and find out why hopefully the motor's good and we won't have to replace the motor, but right now we'll have to dive a little further into the unit and see why we're not getting any motor activity. Well, only 4 small screws and the entire chassis and top panel comes right out of its housing, which should make servicing pretty straightforward. As suspected, there's just a small 4-transistor audio amplifier, DC motor, speaker of course, volume control, multifunction switch. So we'll have to see why our motor is not being connected. I suspect maybe we have a poor connection on the multifunction switch. With the head cover removed, You can see most of the internal drive mechanism. There's only one DC motor, and when the unit is put into rewind, you can move the rewind platter, and I think you can just see the motor shaft turning. So the motor is engaging the rewind platter. You go into the play mode, and that pulls this idler wheel against the motor shaft and drives the take-up reel. If you rotate the idler wheel, it is engaging the take-up reel, but it's not engaging the motor shaft. The spring that's holding this mechanism may need to have to be adjusted such that it pulls into the motor shaft a little bit better. And of course, in stop mode, everything is disengaged, which is good because that won't leave a flat on one of the rollers. You never want to leave it in the play or rewind mode, always in the stop mode during storage. Well, it is confirmed that the two C cells that power the drive motor are in parallel. So the drive motor is a 1.5 volt motor. And we did have a flaky connection on the multifunction switch, which was kind of what I suspected. I'm certainly hoping the motor wasn't bad. But we got as far as now, we have the rewind function. But the forward function is a little flaky. The drive wheel, we don't have any torque on the take-up reel. It looks like this idler wheel is not engaging quite right yet. So we may have to play with the tension here a little bit, or we may have to buff up that idler wheel a little bit. What we'll also need to do is take a look at a lot of the lubrication in this mechanism has really got gummy over the years, and it's all going to have to be changed out, cleaned up, relubricated. And here's an interesting thing. There's a date code in here, and it looks like May 21st, 1967. So this recorder is almost 60 years old. All of the bearing parts cleaned up quite well and lubricated quite well. The two platters I have lubricated, and all of the gunky old grease has been from this mechanism as well. Using a real small piece of heat shrink tubing over the motor shaft helped engage the idler wheel, which was slipping before. You can just see that little piece of heat shrink tubing over the motor shaft, and that cured the slipping of the idler wheel. And now it runs nice and smooth. And the typical electronics is a very simple, small 4-transistor audio amplifier, nothing fancy, pretty straightforward. Most of these recorders have almost the identical electronics, little 4-transistor amplifier, and a little different PC board layout, but as a general rule they're almost identical. As with most audio this age, we discovered we have to replace at least 3 electrolytics in the audio amplifier, and this is straightforward. Here's a quick demonstration of the warbly audio that I'm getting.
Really singing. Those claims prompted at least 3 reporters to ask the International Olympic Committee about it, with organizers responding by praising.
Maybe I was expecting way too much from this small toy recorder, but the audio that you heard on that last clip was about the best I was able to do and able to complete with this machine. But it was a fun project all told. Brings back a lot of memories.